Hello, I'm here today to present what I call the Lucifer trigger theory. Um, we know that Lucifer was one of the highest amongst the angels in eternity past and eventually was thrown out of the kingdom of heaven with a third of the angels. The question is the timing of events because God created the earth, God created man in his own image, and what was the timing when Lucifer was thrown out of the kingdom? What was the timing of his rebellion? In infinity past, before man was created, why didn't Lucifer rebel at any point at that time, or did he? So the theory of the Lucifer trigger point is basically when man was created, after man was created, not before, that Lucifer saw that he, amongst the highest angels, was not the greatest thing God had ever created anymore. Even though man and woman, Adam and Eve, were created uniquely in God's image. In Genesis 1:27, man is created in God's image. We're creative. We have a free choice. We are eternal. At this point, the trigger theory is Satan, at that point Lucifer, saw that he's not the greatest thing anymore. There's going to be billions of people on the face of the earth that will one day be greater than angels. So I believe the trigger point is he and convinced a third of the angels to rebel against God. And that led them to be cast down to earth, and that was the trigger point of Lucifer becoming Satan, seeing the wonderful God's creation, us as man being created in God's image. I'll take us through a few Bible verses. We have to first start with the fact that in Genesis 1:31, that God declared that the earth was good. When God created all things, the earth, we can now conclude Satan wasn't there or it would not be good. So in God's creation story, he created all things good. It wasn't until Lucifer entered and the earth and tempted man, it was no longer good. So at that point, man and woman, Adam and Eve, there's a time frame which they worked the garden. God walked through the garden, which is Jesus, by the way. There's many places in the Bible, Galatians 15, that the visible image of God is Christ. So Jesus was walking around in the garden with Adam and Eve. It was declared good. Well, at some point, Satan, and I think this is the point of time where Lucifer now said, I don't like this. I'm not the top dog. And so in Isaiah 14, the angels are referred to as stars, and the stars in heaven, Lucifer and a third of the angels, were now cast down to Sheol. Sheol's another word for earth or dirt or ground. They were cast out of the sky, which is the heavenly places, and onto the earth. In Revelation 12, 3 through 9, you can read that, and that is the story of how we find out how many angels, a third of the angels and Lucifer, were cast down to the earth. The support for us being created greater than angels is threefold. I did point out that in Genesis 1:27, we are created in God's image. He uses the word create 3 times. Man and woman created in his image. We can create. It's a very unique thing that all man created in God's image can create things. Music, poetry, inventions, everything you see behind me, the glasses on my eyes. It's an amazing ability we have. No other creatures on the face of the earth can create. They're doing the same thing they did 6,000 years ago. Right there, that ends the whole debate of evolution right off the bat. We're unique in that way. Going into the support that we are greater than angels, if we first read Hebrews 2:7, it actually talks that are created lower than angels. That, I believe, is referring to our present state as we are on this earth and we are sinners. Even though we're redeemed in Christ, born again, we do not have our glorified bodies. If we later read in Corinthians 6:3 that someday we will judge angels, and I think that's what Lucifer was onto. He saw where this was headed, and so that someday, according to Corinthians 6:3, we will judge angels. That was what I believe is the trigger point. And so the timing being at first very suspect, like all of a sudden billions of years have gone by and now Lucifer decides to rebel. What caused the rebellion? And I think it's just the work of God creating us, mankind, in his glorious image. Genesis 1:27. Thanks for listening.